Section 5, truck side frame, bolster and springs, TM55-203, maintenance of a railway car. 419, truck side frame. A, general. The truck side frame is trusted cast in steel frame. The free of the truck assembly out of the outside of the truck's wheels will which extend from the one of the axle to the other. Figure 428. The journal box is separate from the lids of the brake rig lugs for the hanger type of the brake beams and the guide of the slots of the hangerless type of the brake beams cast integral within the side frame of the proper. The journal boxes are designed to seat on the top bearing, a wedge and bearing assembly provided for the rear slot of the dust guard and plug-in, retaining lubrication and pads and lubricating journals and bearings. When the roadbed is not in the good condition, especially around curves and truck sides, the frame will be subjected to the heavy and proactive forces, uneven track, excessive sway of the car body are greatly contributing cause the inspected wears on side of the frame. Figure 429 shows the disabled truck when component repairs. The repairs truck side frame is subjected to severe stresses and strains under the car, particularly underloaded and traveling at high speed. Side frames will be wear in the center portion where the springs of the truck bolster are located. The cracks are also may be found in any of the area anywhere the side frame. Journal boxes may contain the broken or worn lugs as defective of the side frame. Here you have your side bearing, your axle, your center plate, your brake lever, your brake hanger, your brake shoe, the wheel, the brake pin, the connection rod. Your journal box is your side frame, your spring plank, your coil springs, your bolsters, your inside out side bolsters, truck assembly, 428 wheel, and the rail. Usually is removed and newly reconditioned and one installed. When necessary to build in surface welding, it should be done evenly produced in desirable condition without the excessive grinding. Building up and surface of welding cracks and features welding cracks and fractures in any location permissible on the Conos type equipment provided on a side frame of this U section design, manufactured, and subsequent of 1926 in Conos AAR Code of Rules. Governing the repairs and frames must be removed from the trucks and section of the weld must be preheated locally at approximately 6,000 F. After welding has been completed, legally marked and with a place of date of the AAR regulations and Conos on a certain limited section on journal boxes, brake and hanger bracket heat treatment is not required. 420. The truck bolster. A general in the truck bolster is the body bearing of the truck is designed to support the car's underframe of the load. If it is set in the cross of the matching car body, the baluster recess is secured in the weight of the car and matching the male and a female forged and cast steel center plates. It loosens the center plate and in the center plates helps resist lateral movement under the normal conditions. The truck bolster oscillates in the position between the columns on the side of the frame. On application of the brakes, it serves as a bolster and corners of the bolster will rub against the face of the truck columns and side frames within fitted ends working to the guide and the cast of columns and cast steel truck side frames and truck bolsters transmitted and loaded in the bottom spring bolsters. Leaf springs in passenger cars which caps and bearing plates and the frame loaded and transferred axle journal wheels then rails through journal bearing assembly brass and wedged and roller bearings lubricated on the journal boxes with the side frames. Here you see one the plate, 2 the pin, straight headed dead lever, 3 rivet solid, 4 bracket dead lever, 5 the fulcrum, 6 fulcrum brake beam, left-handed and right-handed. 7 brake beam assembly. 9 lever to truck brake live. 10 pin straight-headed brake connection. 11 axle railway car. 12 wheel set railway car. 13 wheel of the railway car. 14 rod connection truck lever. 15 brake shoe railway car. 16 key railway car brake shoe. 17 hanger brake beam. 18 dust guard railway journal. 19 wedged railway journal bearing. 20 bearing plain railway axle. 21. Lid and railway journal box. 23. Pin and journal box lid. 22. Lid and railway journal box. 24. Spring railway truck inner. 25. Spring railway truck outer. 26. Side frame railway truck. 27. Bracket cuttering cotter brake hanger. 28. Bolster railway truck. 29. Lever truck brake dead. 30. Pin center railway truck. 31. Guided truck dead lever. 429. Typical disassembled. And B. Bolster repairs. Bolsters repairs. Wear at the center plate is the side of the bearings at the end of the wear. The contact is made within the columns of the side frame is discussed as an above. In general, feasible will build up the worn spots on cast steel bolsters by welding an ARCONUS and TRS overseas regulation permits, and the bolster worn beyond the reclaiming limits must be removed and scrapped, and a new one installed. There are no restrictions on welding or press off structural steel bolsters. 2. The removal of truck bolsters of the integral cast frame is type of illustrated in figure 428 in the following procedures. A. Remove all packing and the lubrication from the journal box. Disconnect the top brake rod and the truck live lever. C. Jack the end of the car of the height extent to allow the track to be rolled from under the car. Place the safety trestles under the car so that the jack fails of the car will not fail. Remove the center pan if necessary to roll truck in under the car before placing the safety trestles at part of the long handled tongs. Never be held. Bare hands will be used in removing the center pin. Roll truck from the undercar. Remove all brake rigging, including the braking beams and rods, levers, and safety hangers. H. By means of the jack and hoist and the raise of bolster sufficiently to permit the removal of the journal box wedges. I. Remove spring plank and use. J. Lower the bolster to a position which will allow the side frames to be slipped into the end of the bolster. K. Using a hoist of wheel sticks and swinging sides frames to clear the bolsters. L. Removal of the bolster. 2. Reassemble the truck, lower the bolster into the place, roll up the wheel sets, point all the sides of the frames into the position, assemble the remainder and the parts in the reverse order. The assembly described above. The bolster side control wedges, if used, should be lubricated after assembly. C. Welding bolsters. Inspecting a bolster will remove from the car trucks and reveal loose rivets of the male and female center casting cracks in the body and bolster. No restriction of the welding cracks and fractures of the bolster, and the cast steel bolsters must be removed before the welding and then normalized after the welding. Pressed in the structural steel bolsters should be removed in the car truck, and for removable cars tracks are detected loose rivets in the center plate will be cut out and replaced. D. The center plate. The truck bolster center plate figure 420. The depression into which the center casting riveted in the center sill of the car fits is held by the place of the weight of the car body and conformation of the casting in a center pin. The center plate should be inspected for presence of dirt and grit and scale, and any other foreign matter which will cause binding and above the average wear. The center plate and the pin should be lubricated in suitable hard grease and being replaced with under the car. The center blade should be examined and cracks broken on the portions. If damage is not noted, the center plate and the bolster is necessary should be removed from the outer line of the B above, replaced with a new one. The center plate is riveted and only be replaced singly. Liner shims in place in center plates to adjoint coupler height and are permissible, providing vertical bearing and surface of the center plate is not reduced in 1/8 of an inch, and such liners shall be one piece is not extended to the 1/4 of an inch thickness. To inspect the center plates for cleaning lubrication, the car can be raised and hoisted jacks to sufficient height to make a center plate visible for the inspection. Care should be taken not to the point of the hand fingers of the center casting under such circumstances. E. The side bearings Side bearings consisting of special steel plates with a flat bearing surface contact, similar plates of the body bolster, fabricated in the part of the bolster. They are designed steadily to the car of the body to prevent the excessive rolling and maintaining intermittent contacts. Similarly, members of the body bolster, instead of the flat bearing surfaces, a combination of rollers and rockers may be found on some cars. New car specification requires side bearings clearances to adjust the limits of 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch bearings. Bearing measured to each of the bearing in which the car level and track of the car body level. Total side bearing clearance at the BN and the R and the AN and the L and the A and the R corners must be at the same total clearance at the B and L and A and R corners with permissible variation of 1/8 of an inch. Racing end of the car of the trucks, the side bearings can be inspected for the wear of the breakage. If repairs, replacement, and identification of the truck should be ruled out under the facility to repair, replacement necessary. The old side bearing should be burned and new one affixed to the riveting welding. Its original manner care will be taken to adjust for proper clearance. 421 center truck springs. A general, a truck bolster ended properly fitted between the columns of the truck side frame will rest on a cluster of coil springs, which in turn are set up to the built up shoulder springs pockets of the truck side frame and truck bolster. The mark of the spring cluster and dependent on the unloading the springs and travel dictated of the operation conditions. These clusters will cap the seat plates and removal since they fix neither the bolster nor the slide frame. The spring replacement bolster springs of the figure 428 may become lost. It occurs to the one spring and is not serious. However, additional strains there be placed on remain springs, and in case of heavily loaded car, they are unable to carry the load, possibly resulting in the truck failure, hot journal derailment, and other serious damage. Rusting or breakage of the connection bars may cause the spring to become loose, eventually lost. If the spring plank damage at a great pressure will be applied to the springs, resulting in breaking springs and tightening the truck. And when the spring is found and broken and missing, a new spring will be installed to do this truck partially disassemble. The following procedures outlined above. This weight must be taken in the bolster and bolster raised high enough for the spring to come free. New springs should be in spring seats exactly having the same snub characteristics as all the other springs in the group. Chapter 5 Under Assembly.